Hello, everyone. I'm joined by Infekted, the tank from Students of the Game. We're here to talk about everything main event. Obviously, you've had a pretty straightforward run through group stage and everything. And I wanted to just ask, how's it going right now as we go into this final week? Because you didn't have to play last weekend. What's the feeling right now from scrims?
Right now during scrims after our FMCL match, we've actually been playing really good in scrims, I think. Definitely an improvement to before the FMCL match, because before the FMCL match, we were not doing well in scrims. We were losing every scrim. People weren't like saying what they needed to say. We were doing the wrong things. But this week for sure, we've been getting our macro right, like on almost every map. Everybody's been talking about what they need to say. We've just been playing really good. Like I know we scrimmed like LG yesterday and we did like really good versus them and like even like timeless before they were out, like we were scrimming and we were doing always pretty good against them. So I think we're gonna do really well this next stage for sure.
I spoke to Cal a little bit after that FMCL match, and he said leading up to that, you changed the calling structure a little bit, or maybe more specifically, the way you phrased it was some people were talking less than others. Is that a big part of what you think has helped make it feel so much better, both in that match and beyond?
Yeah, I would think so. I think it's more of the pre-fight planning where we just had like a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but now I'm kind of more of just like the pre-fight planner, like 90% of the time, unless somebody has like a specific strategy or ult they want to use, and then more of the mid-fight, my DPS call like more of the targets, and my supports are calling more of like the stabilizing or like the push and pulls, or I mean I call it push and pulls too, but we just have a more well-structured comm structure. Yeah, I would say.
And you also, I'm not quite sure on the timeline here, but Wheat's joined at a certain point, right?
hmm
What's it been like with him coming in? Has he helped in these situations as well?
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely like the mediator of the team. I would say fits his role best. Because like we'll be like in an argument about something, he'll just like, okay, this is what's supposed to happen. This
Yeah.
is what yeah. And he's very smart too. Like it makes sense why he's won contenders and was in OWL like multiple times. Because he is like a very good coach. So he's been really, really helpful.
And I wanted to try and get a bit of I guess, a behind the scenes look into the internal dynamic of the team. So I'm going to ask you to name a few of your teammates here that you feel best answering this question. So
Okay.
who's the funniest person on the team?
Um, Definitely PGE.
Yeah.
He's just like, like he'll just like die randomly. He'll just be like, oh, or he'll just like growl, and then like it's just his tweets after. Like he'll just tweet in the middle of the scrim. Like I woke up this morning to a maybe it's me tweet. I'm like, bro, like, like it's so funny. That guy's hilarious.
Yeah, hard to top that. And then who's the hardest worker or the biggest grinder?
Oh, that's hard. It might honestly be PGE again, unironically, because we double block like every day, and he'll stream for hours before and stream for hours after. Like he just loves playing the game. Oh yeah, I would say PGE again.
All right, and then biggest moaner or the person who complains the most.
Uh, Probably me. I think it'd be me because like in scrims we'll like lose a fight. I'm like, oh guys, this is what we're supposed to do. Like maybe sometimes I'll do it after fights, which is like really bad. I actually need to stop doing that. But yeah, I would say I'm the biggest complainer.
And then who would you say is the sort of like most skilled in terms of like sometimes you just see him do things like, how's he managed to do this or how's he got out of this situation?
Okay, definitely scissors. For
Yeah.
sure scissors. Cause he's on like 80 ping too, so sometimes he'll just die randomly, but we'll be in the middle of the fight and he'll just randomly kill four. I'm like how did he even do that? I have no idea. That guy's crazy.
And then last one doesn't necessarily need to be in game, but who's the most intelligent on the team?
Um, would it be bad to say if it was me?
You
Would
can
that
say
be
you.
bad?
You can say
I
you.
think I think it's me only because I say like the fight plans a lot, and like when we're doing VOD reviews, I'm like it's mostly like me and Wheats leading them. So that's pretty much it. But I mean, I think Cal and Rack are also like really smart of the team too. They're definitely yeah, very smart.
And then if we look at, there's probably not too much really to talk about from group stage because it was actually an unbelievably straightforward group stage in the end. 2 3-0s and straight out. Were you expecting that to be that easy? Maybe especially the FMCL match?
Leading up to the FMCL match, I actually thought it was going to be a lot harder because, like I said before, we were doing really bad in scrims, in my opinion at least. And just like in the FMCL match, something just like a flip switched, something like that. I don't know. Magic happened. We just became good for some reason. I don't know how, but we just did. So also, I thought they were going to be a lot better too.
Yeah, it felt like maybe particularly on the Parisio as well. It just felt like their DPS would just die, and you were just able to find a pick just sort of right at the start of every fight, and it just meant everyone was quite easy because you ended up beating them on every comp. Like you beat him in the Orisa mirror, you beat him on the dive as well.
Yeah, no, for that like Pariso map in specific, I definitely like our attack on first specifically, we were just like walking into a choke and dying to like a single ult like every fight. And then like one fight they just messed up their ults and then we ended up winning. And that was definitely on them. We were playing that wrong, but our defense I thought we played like really good with like the cast on a break into that. Because we were like counter diving, we were peeling, we were calling out ults. But, like that first attack for sure felt like really bad on us.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We've seen a lot of teams, especially maybe in the second weekend of groups, become almost completely Orisa one tricks essentially in almost all situations. Whereas your team still feels like they play a little bit of a wider variety. We still see the Winston in some places. Where's your team's feeling of the meta right now in terms of, are we just leaning to Orisa replacing like the tank pick on more and more maps, or is there still space for these other heroes?
I think there's definitely still space for these other heroes like Sig on some maps and like even Ball on some maps, like very rare, and like Winston on some. I think it's always good to have a little bit more than just one comp to kind of throw teams off. But Orisa is definitely like the majority and the strongest, like by far.
What do you think is the biggest difference right now between all the different Orisa players? Like, what do you think the best Orisa players do that maybe the other ones struggle on?
I think there's like two really big things. I think the first one is just like cooldown management. I think the best Orisas will greed their like gold specifically very well and make it very hard to force it out of you and use cover really well. And then I think just hitting spears. I think if you just hit
Yeah.
spears on squishies, you just 3-2-1 rail or like 3-2-1 headshot, like it's just very easy kills and they just turn fights.
Yeah, I think there's actually like an insane sort of skill ceiling on that if you can like one hit them and two sync it up with your team as well.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a lot of teams also maybe a bit more in EMEA start leaning towards more BAP and more CAS in situations over Kiri's Sojin, whereas your team have done maybe a little bit of both in different situations. What's your current feeling on the differences, or which is better out of those options?
Personally, I think most maps cast BAP just is better because I think it's just more consistent damage. And I also think Window, I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I think Window is just a better ult than Kiri ult in this meta if used correctly. But I think the Kiri Soj is like better if they're always hitting their shots. Like if you don't miss a rail, the Soj is always going to be better. So I kind of just let PGE and Cal kind of decide where they want to play that and like how they want to play that. I trust them with their picks, what they're feeling. But I definitely think most of the time cast BAP is the right choice.
But the only other one we've maybe seen you guys bust out at times is for PGE Echo.
Oh God.
Whose choice is that? And are we gonna see a PGE Echo return?
I don't think we're gonna see return of the PGE Echo. I don't specifically during that FMCL match, he never played it because we would always have scissors on Echo and him on Tracer. But we only did that in the match so he could swap the cast afterwards.
Yeah.
So to give him the benefit of the doubt, that was his first time playing it on that map. But yeah, and his last time.
Yeah. And then if we look now ahead to the main event, obviously Timeless's downfall was actually opened the door massively for all these teams. Because I think that now between you, Luminosity, Pirates, and M80, there's only 25 circuit point difference between all four of you, which means there's everything to play for, essentially. Your first game is against Pirates in Pyjamas, who are right in there battling with it for you. How confident do you feel going into that first series?
Very confident. I think it'll be a 3-0, if I'm being honest. If we keep playing how we are, I think all our players are better than their players. I think we're playing better as a team. We've beaten them in the past before. Like I think we will just win, just purely based off mechanics and team play.
And then, if everything goes to plan, you'll most likely run into Toronto in the next game. Toronto are obviously the team that everyone really expects to sort of just dominate North America. How big do you feel that gap is between Toronto and other teams right now? Is it a catchable gap, or are they just too good?
Well, we haven't really scrimmed them recently, so I honestly don't know, but there definitely is a gap for sure. Like if they play how they normally play, like none of them have like a sick day or like somebody loses an arm, they're gonna get first. Like they are just gonna get first and win.
So then, what's going to probably happen is there's going to be a lot of lower bracket games that are going to be absolutely do or die pivotal to who gets to go to Dallas. So, out of the other teams, excluding Toronto, who are you most worried about maybe running into in one of these later bracket games?
Well, like me and Rack like went through it, and we saw that if we lose to Toronto, then we'll most likely play FMCL to get
Mm-hmm.
fourth, like at best, or fourth at worst. So I also feel pretty confident going into FMCL too because we already 3-0'd them. And then like in that fourth place match, it would either be like LG, the loser of LG or LG or M80, sorry, LG or M80 versus Citrus. And we already did this too. If Citrus beats LG or M80 in that like losers bracket match, then I think we go to Dallas 100%,
Yeah, I
unless they
think
get
so. Yeah.
second. Or we probably just play against like LG or M80. So that match is the most important, whichever one of those two teams. Because if we win that, then we make Dallas. So
Yeah.
it's like a very good road for us.
And then, how do you feel? Because a lot of the time, maybe even in stage one, there weren't almost, how to say it, a lot of the matches weren't crazy high stakes. Obviously, it was you want to win and it's pressure to win. But now a lot of these games, even say your opening fixture, it is do or die, right? Like suddenly if Pirates get the upset, it's a huge problem and a huge boon for them because if you lose any of these games, not only do you have a problem, you actually boost the other team's chance of going to Dallas as well because you give them a better bracket. So what does your team do maybe in some of these situations, or how do you approach it when there's sort of like higher stakes than a lot of games so far?
If I'm being honest, like the last times we've played in these matches, it definitely feels more of like chaotic, and I can tell people are nervous. But I think that's because like last stage specifically, that was a lot of our first times like playing at that high of a level, like especially for PGE and Scissors, because I don't really think they've ever been at like that high stakes of a match. So I think coming around this time will definitely be a lot more calm. And I'm like, we're going to make sure that we're a lot more calmer going into these matches. So like, nerves are definitely like the biggest factor in the losing for most of the time, in my opinion. So that's
Is
something we got to work on.
is there someone on your team who sort of maybe acts as that, like the voice of reason or the person to calm everyone down when things are either going wrong or there's like a high pressure moment?
I'll definitely be the one to say like we need to chill out a bit and calm down. But Rack is also very like positive, and I think he always keeps everybody in like a more calm, like positive atmosphere. He's very good at just being happy, and he makes everybody else happy.
Yeah, what you need in these big moments.
Yeah.
Then I think for a lot of, obviously you've got a couple of players on your team who've been in Overwatch League before and been in pretty big matches and gone to these lands before. But for some of the other players, what does it mean to you guys if you were able to get in a shot to go to Dallas and play in that sort of like top 8 in the world situation?
Oh, that would actually be our dream. We talk about like what we're gonna do in Dallas like every day before scrims. Like we want it very badly. And I know we've been working really hard to get Dallas. And I think there is a good shot we do make Dallas if we play how we normally play in scrims. I know PGE specifically, like every night he's like, I want to make Dallas, man. I gotta make Dallas, man. And then the next day, maybe it's me. I suck. But yeah, no, but he's cool. I know he wants it badly into the scissors, and we all want it really badly.
Yeah, no, I think especially in the North American bracket, maybe even more than anywhere else, this next tournament it's so open in terms of who can qualify and who can get in that spot. So I think it'll be a very exciting watch. Thank you very much for your time, Infekted. I do appreciate it. And obviously, best of luck to you and the boys for this weekend.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me.